we have a very familiar face, Abul, with the International Village Clinic. Abul founded IVC in October 1999. In February 2002, IVC established a pilot project consisting of a curative program and a preventative program in one that the poorest areas of northern India. The curative program aimed to serve about 20,000 people in 6 to 10 villages, and the preventative program began by serving just one village. Both programs have since grown tremendously. The curative program serves more than 200,000 people in 70 villages annually, while the preventative program reaches 48 villages. Please put your hands together for Abul.
Good afternoon, everyone. My fellow. Oh, I need the. Well, since it's a nice afternoon, good afternoon again. Thank you, Terry, for your introduction. You know, I've started this program in 2002, so it has been 16 years. And in 2003, when Larry Lee was the president, I don't know if he is here. He said he was going to be, but that's okay. Something must have come up. I have been giving these updates every year since 2003. 2003 was the first year that Bloomington Rotary gave us a grant to do this work. And ever since, every year, every president and every board has given us grants. And I'm awfully grateful. I cannot express in words how much you have helped our program. By the way, I counted the number of people here, and I know I'm not that important, not as important as the district governor, but really the number of people here are about the same as when the district governor came. So thank you very much for thinking of me. I know I'm not going to be a DG anytime. So I'm truly grateful. And most of you have heard my talk updates, but there are always a few new members or new people or visitors coming here. And therefore, I have tried to make some changes in my presentation every year. And every year, a couple of people, especially John Hull, said to me, hey, I didn't know about this before. So it helps to go over a couple of things again and again. And that's what I'll do a little bit. But this time, it's a major change. Every time I gave my 30 minutes of presentation on the healthcare programs, this time I have 2 programs. I'll spend half the time on updating you on the healthcare program and the other half on the new program. With that, let's get started. That's the name of our organization, International Village Clinic. The theme today is, you are changing lives. We always say we are changing lives, but I really mean it when I say you are changing lives. Bloomington Rotary has been the largest contributor to our program, and so have many other Rotary clubs. So really, I salute to the Rotary. They have been a big part of changing lives in the villages where we are working. This is the map of India. Probably most of you have seen the map before. I have shown you. This is the state where we are located. It's called Uttar Pradesh. That's the largest state in India. I believe there are 38 states. This is the largest population-wise. We are at the far end, the eastern end of Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh, when I say it's a large population, I really mean it. Comparing it with Minnesota, the area is about 10% larger than Minnesota. And the population is about 500% larger. It's 230 million people compared to 5 million in Minnesota. So you can imagine just the sheer population would create a lot of problems, which they are. There is no question about it. The other thing is, by the way, if it was a separate country, it would be the fifth largest country in the world. So you can imagine the size of it. Also, this is one of the poorest and backward areas. In India, you know, it's very diverse. If you go to the West Coast, all the industries, education, business, they are on the West Coast and South. As you move east, it gets worse and worse and worse. And we are at the far end of the eastern part of the state. So there have been a lot of problems. Next slide is, you have seen it before, I'm sure, but I cannot give a presentation without showing this slide. Oh, this is, okay. I met Mother Theresa in 1996 when I was on a business trip to India. I was going to India 3 to 4 times a year, among other countries. And in 1996, I met her. And that changed my life. In true sense, literally it changed my life. I had 30 minutes with her. Before that, while I was working for the corporations here, I used to go to Tokyo and Eastern countries a lot, and I would stop in Hawaii, and we would take a vacation for a week almost every year, my wife and I. And I had decided that that's where I will retire. Well, after 1996, that plan went down, vanished, because I started this program in India. This is the way we started the program in 2002. We built a mobile clinic, which went from village to village serving people, and we purchased a small ambulance. There was no emergency service in these villages. If someone had a heart attack, it took half a day to get to the city. By then, it may be over. So ours was the first ambulance emergency service in the whole area. We purchased a piece of land here almost in the middle of boondocks, because at that time there were no homes, no businesses, nothing around here. This was the land that we purchased, and we cleaned it up, as you can see, with the plan to do some construction. The following year, we had our first building. Half of it was our hospital, half of it was our residence. You can see the mobile clinic that I showed you earlier, standing there. It would stay there all day, and people would come, the patients, and we would serve them. In 3 years' time, it changed to this. This is our residential building, because in these villages, there were no restaurants, no hotels, nothing. So I had to build something for our doctors and so forth who didn't live close to our clinic. So this is our residential building. That's the prevention building. Next to it about there, which really is, if you look at the area there, that looks empty. That's where we built our hospital. Another picture, this is all landscaped, and you can see how that area changed. There was no power when I went there. We would be lucky if we got 2 hours of power in 24 hours. And sometimes it may be gone for a whole week. No one could call NSP like we did here to find out when the power will be back. In the beginning, when I would ask people, hey, when do you think the power will be back? And they would look up. And I said, why the heck do they look up? And then I found out after a while that they were trying to tell me only God knows, no one else here. But we started the solar panels. There was no solar in India in 2002 when we went there. It was about 2004 or 5 when they started building solar panels. Now we have enough panels that we can pretty well take care of our facilities. Most of my talk is relatively serious. You may have seen, some of you, this picture before, but these 2 slides are for a little bit of humor. This is about 4 years or 3 years ago, and I took this picture of our staff. I come back usually here. I spend 6 months at the project site and 6 months at my home here in Bloomington. So I come back about the end of March or April. And just before my departure, I said, hey, I want to take a picture of the whole staff. By now, we had a staff of 60 working with us. And 2/3 of them were women, are women still. And I said, line up, because I want to take a picture and show it to the folks who help us running these programs. And they lined up, and here it was. Now, this was an age of digital. In the past, 2002 or 3, I would take pictures, bring them back here, get them developed and printed. Only then I could tell the results. But with my smart camera, I could tell right away. And I said, hey guys, this wouldn't fly in America. They will call me a liar if I said 2/3 of our force is women. Where are the women? So I said, you have 2 minutes, realign yourself so I can take a picture for America. And this is what we saw, folks. I mean, and believe me, they didn't pre-plan it, they didn't think about it. That's what culture is. All the men came in the front and all the women went in the back. The men didn't force them to go in the back, but that's what culture is all about. So that was for humor. Now back to serious stuff. We have 2 programs there for the healthcare, a curative program where we treat diseases and a preventive program where we prevent diseases. And believe me, the second part is the most important part, not just for India, but almost every developing country in the world, whether it's in Asia, Africa, South America, wherever. And the reason is malnutrition and undernutrition. That's a well-known fact. Where you have malnutrition and undernutrition, there is a problem. And the only way to solve that problem is preventative care. So that's where my focus was from the beginning. I'll show you very quickly a few slides in our curative program. This was taken in 2013. When we had Rotarians visiting us. Among them were Bob Erickson, Don Stiles, Diane. There were, I think, 16 or 17 Rotarians. We got a new mobile clinic built with a Rotary grant in 2012. And this is our DG that year, Bob Stoles. Yes, he was the DG that year. I started calling him Cowboy Bob because the hat that he wore. And this is the way we serve them. People line up. They enter here. We have doctors, pharmacists, nurses inside, and they go out from the other door on the other side of the bus. We have at our hospital now 4 doctors. This is our lady doctor. This is a happy girl after receiving her medicine. We have 2 wards, a 6-bed female ward and a 6-bed male ward. This is the female ward. This is a happy couple. This guy wasn't smiling when he came. He was pretty sick, but now he was leaving the hospital, so they both were happy, he and his wife. We have a 24/7 emergency service, and we get a lot of cases, burned cases. This boy was badly burned, but we take care of them, took care of them. Now to the prevention program. In our prevention program, we have 4 components. We provide nutritional supplements to pregnant women starting from day 1 of their pregnancy. and do it for their whole duration, for 9 months or so. They are given these cans, which they, 1 spoonful of it with a glass of milk or water. It has everything, protein, vitamins, minerals, calcium, folic acid, iron, everything that a pregnant woman needs. For the whole 9 months, we give her that. Once she has delivered and she is still breastfeeding, so we still give her the same nutrition. When the child starts eating at the age of 6 months to 12 months, we switch the nutrition to the child and follow for 5 years. That's the only way to help malnutrition, because it starts from the pregnant woman. If she is malnutrition, what can you expect from the baby that she delivers? So here you will see either they are pregnant or they have children under 5 years of age. We also started giving nutritional supplements to kindergarten schools, because there they have children under 5 years of age. Now we are going to 28 kindergarten schools, and you can see the kids, they are happy with their cans up in the air above their heads. The second part of our prevention program is vaccination. We give vaccination to just about everyone, not just children or pregnant women, but for everyone. This is not a happy woman. She doesn't like, obviously, shots. This is the third component of our program is health education. This is how we do in the 60 villages that we are serving now. People get together, as you can see here, and our doctor, he is giving a seminar. We have the fourth component is family planning, because I knew from day one that if they had families like 5 to 10 children, you are always behind the 8 ball. So we started really family planning very, very seriously. And what happens there is when we adopt a village, we hire a woman from that village, so she knows the people there. And she visits 10 to 15 women every single day, those women who are in childbearing age, that means from 15 years to about 50 years of age. And she will provide them awareness, education, one-on-one, 30 minutes every month. She will go to the field worker will go to the women. We don't force anything on them. She talks to them about family planning, but we don't force it. We say, hey, you have these different options, condoms, pills, tubal ligation, diaphragms, so forth. You decide between you, your husband, and your mother-in-law what you want. Not father-in-law. Because it would take some time to explain how difficult that was in the beginning, especially from men, where our women would approach the homes, they would say, here comes trouble, mostly men. But now it has been 18 years, so things have changed. If you stick and have the perseverance, you can change culture. Now they are expecting them, they welcome them. So, for example, this is our family planning health worker. She is talking to these women. This is a monumental photograph when these guys visited us in 2013. Here is our own Dianne Kirby giving polio shot to this child. When they went that year, Bob Stossel asked me, hey, I will go there only if I get a chance to do a polio shot. And I said, no problem, because we do it every month anyhow. So you come in. Every Rotarian who visited us had a chance to administer a polio shot to children. This is a quick description of what we did last year. 2017, we treated 37,435 patients. Among them were 2,926 emergency cases, and only 12 cases out of that were sent to the city hospital. The rest we could take care of them at our hospital. 24/7 emergency. I won't go through the whole thing. We had 742 patients staying in our wards. I left the flyers on your table if you wanted to see the details. You can do that. In the prevention program, we served 60 villages, 28 kindergarten schools. We provided 1,667 children with nutritional supplements and vaccinations, and 412 pregnant women with prenatal care, nutritional supplements, and vaccinations. And we did 720 health education seminars. And these family planning women, they visited 7,800 pregnancy-age women during the year. And we started a new program that I'll talk about a little bit later. This is a summary of comparison between 2002 and 2017. In the Curative Program, we served 15 villages in 2002, 10,000 people. Now we are serving last year 70 plus villages, 38,000 patients. In the Preventative Program, we exponentially grew. One village in 2002, 3,000 people. Now we have 60 villages, 180,000 people plus. And we are serving over 200,000 people a year, close to 250,000. We have a staff of 60, 4 doctors among them, and we do it all on a budget of less than $150,000. All the medicine, all nutrition, all salaries, all the preventive devices, contraceptives, everything included. What I say is, hey, you couldn't hire half a doctor here for that price. And our overhead is 1% to 2%. And of course, I'm devoting the rest of my life to this. Now, this was the healthcare education part, or healthcare part. Now I'll share with you the new program. I have to give you a little background on why and how I started it. I noticed a lot of different things since I started the program in 2002. One of them, you may remember, we were building toilets for schools at one time with Rotary grants, because I observed or noticed in 3-4 years from 2002 that the girls were dropping out of school because there were no toilets. At the age of puberty, they would drop out. So we started building toilets, and we did it for 40 schools. In a similar way, what I had been noticing was, today, English is the lingua franca of the business world. All over, everywhere, they want English if you want to get anywhere in business. I learned that word lingua franca when I was in 4th or 5th standards. Of course, the teacher told me what it was, but I never really comprehended what lingua franca means. Today, I can appreciate that because they all want English for business. And those who have traveled overseas, you know it. So I said, hey, the villages have a big problem. In the cities, they have good English medium schools. So the kids go to those schools, they can speak and understand English. But in the villages, there are no good schools, especially English, no good schools. If you go to these villages, you will find more St. Joseph, St. John's, and St. Patrick's than in the United States, in the villages. And not only that, they will add another word, St. Joseph Convent School. If you ask the principal or the owner what convent means, he has no idea. They don't know who St. Joseph was or who St. John was. But why do they name these names? Because it sounds impressive. English, St. John's Convent, it has to be good in English. So they are spreading all over the place. But the teachers can't speak a single sentence of English, You may call the school's name whatever you wish, but these kids will never learn English. They graduate high school with no English, so they can't enter a good college in the city, and if they can't graduate from a good college, they can't get a good job. And this is a cycle that keeps repeating. So I kept thinking, hey, what would I do or how would I advise someone who wants to start a school and change this? I wasn't going to build a school. And I thought, hey, one way would be that if you started just nursery school, just nursery class, age of 3 to 4 years, and immerse them in English with a top-notch English teacher who would cost a lot, but top-notch teacher. When these kids graduate next year, go to the next class, then another batch of nursery school students come. If they go through this for 10 years, they will learn English. In India, it's not done at all. They start nursery to high school because school education is a business in India. You wouldn't believe here, people laughed at me if I say, yeah, building a high school is a good business. They will laugh at me. There it is. It makes good money. Even in the villages where the tuition is very small, still they make money. So they have a lot of villages, a lot of schools, but not good schools. So I kept thinking about it, but I wasn't going to start a school now at my age. It happened by chance last year. What happened was, now since we are giving these nutritional supplements to 28 schools, I got to know a lot of schools and their management and teachers. So this school is about 10 minutes walk from our hospital. Last year when I came here, usually I spend from April to October here. In May, I got a call from one of the teachers who was also a manager of a school. I knew her very well, Razia. She called me on the phone, and I was totally surprised because no one from India calls me. I have to call them. It costs money to call from there. Why is she calling? She doesn't have much. I said, hey, Razia, why are you? And she started crying. Wouldn't answer. For 5 minutes she cried. Once she collected herself, she said, well, I'm in great trouble. The government closed down our school for whatever reason. And believe me, these are all private schools, but government controls them. They can close them down. She said, they closed it down. I have no way to feed my children, and I know she has a large family. I want you to help me. And I said, look, Razia, I'm not building a school. If you were a nurse or a doctor or pharmacist, yeah, I could give you a job, but I'm not going to start a school now. And she said, no, sir, you have to start. And I said, no, I'm not. So that was the end of the conversation. A week later, she calls me again and starts crying. And I said, this time I'm not going to ask, why are you crying? Because I know why you're crying. But I can't build a school. Well, she said, no, somehow you have to help. And something clicked in my head while we were talking. I said, okay, Razia, I will try to help you, but I have 2 conditions. One is that I'm not going to run it. I don't know how to run a school. You will run it. I'll help, but you will manage, and I know you can do it. The second one, you wouldn't believe it, I said to Razia, and they will laugh at you. They will think you're crazy in that environment. And they will think I'm crazy too, which is no problem. They think I'm crazy for the last 18 years. What's the big deal? But they will laugh you out. But she agreed, and I said, the second is that I will start only 1 class, nursery. We may have 20, 30 kids, whatever. And I will hire a top-notch teacher, English teacher. Those teachers are come only from the southern part of India or northeastern part of India. I said, I'll hire them. We'll have to pay 3 to 4 times then from Varanasi city, but I'll pay them because that's where it starts. If you can follow those conditions, I'll do it. She said, of course she will, not because she loved running the school, but because she needed a job, I knew. But she agreed. So I said, okay. And I said, I'll not start the school where you were. That won't work in my case. She said, okay, fine. We got some estimates for renovation of the school that they had. And I applied for a Rotary grant, district grant last year. I got $14,000. Our estimate was $15,000 to $20,000, $15,000 to renovate. So I said, fine. We picked a new name because we had to register under a new name. That school was blocked. I picked World Class English School as the name of our school. And in November, when I went there, I said, okay, now we will start renovating. And the reason I'm showing you this picture is this was their school from nursery to high school. It's about 200 feet long this way. And you can see this is their first floor. This is ground floor. You cannot see a thing in there. It's sunshine. Second floor you can see. This is where they would be having classes. These are the windows of the classroom, just little strips. And to get to the second floor, they had piled a whole bunch of dirt here, which in 15 years, it was like paved road. The kids would start running from the ground here all the way up there. And then at the end, they had these 3 stairs that the kids would go up, and that's how they were having the classes. No doors, no windows. I used to say that they start a school with 4 walls and a roof. That's it. Well, here you don't even have 4 walls. They have pillars, only 2 walls. The kids I saw them running here. They get used to it, but once in a while, they fall. And they hurt, they break their legs or arms and come to our hospital. We treat a whole bunch of kids like that every year. I knew that. So I said, hey, I cannot run a school like this. I'll never do it. Safety is no concern in India, at least in the villages, even in the cities. They don't even think about it. So I said, I'll have to renovate. And we started renovating. In a month, this is how the plan was going on. Now you see no dirt, larger windows, full-size windows, and so forth. And in 3 months, by the way, we started this on 7th of December. In India, they write date first, then the month, and then the... So 7th of December, it looked like this. A month later, it was like this. And 3 months later, folks, this is what it looked like. It's all paved here. Now the school bus can come in. Before that, they had 500 to 600 kids there. The school bus would drop them on the street outside this building, and they would. Then, as I said, we named it. There was no gate in the old school before. Now this is what our school gate looks like. There were shops here. They had a 5-foot corridor, okay, through which they would go to the school building. Okay, I'll go quickly now. This is what the class looks like. Another shot of the class. This is one of the teachers. We purchased all this furniture in India. This is the playtime, some other playground equipment, and you are changing lives, folks, in true sense of the word. What we plan to do is this year I'll go back, build another class. And these kids who will graduate, their year is from April to March. They will graduate March next year. They will need another classroom. We will build a classroom this year, and we will keep doing this. Hope every year, hopefully, maybe in 10 to 15 years, we will have a high school. But our motive is not profit, so we can do that. They have been laughing at it, but now they are pretty serious. They are sending their kids here. So I'll end it at this, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
We have time for 1 or 2 questions for Abul.
Yes.
You said, if I understood or heard this right, that a lot of your emergency cases are burns?
No, not lot, but there are a whole bunch of cases. No, not all burn. Most of the cases are asthma in the winter time, then diarrhea and so forth. That's what they mostly come from. Yes, Jim?
Carolyn?
Just a quick question, are you having a fundraiser again this fall?
Thank you for asking me. Yes, thank you. It's on 9th of October. You have received emails. You will be getting invitations again. The first invitation went out on the 3rd of last month. Now again, we will send out, and here are some of the flyers. You can take it home if you wish. Yes, Jim?
What was it that Mother Theresa said that changed your life?
That's a very good question. Of course, just her presence, I can't describe. She came about this high, but she was bigger than life. I felt like a little bug standing in front of her, just her presence. And then she asked me, hey, what are you trying to do? What do you want to do? And I said, hey, I don't know, but I want to give back because luck has given me what I have. And she said, okay, she was a believer, so she said, Abul, go and work in these villages. God will help you. And that was it.
Last question?
Yes.
Abul, have you had a chance to track some of the students that have come through your school in the last 18 years, and where are they and what they're doing?
Sorry, I must not have explained it right. We started the school this year in April.
I'm sorry, the clinic.
Oh,
Have you been able to follow some of those families and those children?
Oh yes. Very interesting question. I'll answer one small point quickly. In 2002, when we started the prevention program, I had to go, because we had a very small staff, to preach family planning. They had 5 to 10 children in most of the families. I would say, hey, 2 to 5, that's the right size. That's the right size. Now, some women come to me when I go and visit them. They come to me and say, they have never met me before. How can I have more than 2 to 5 children? I wouldn't be able to feed them. I wouldn't be able to educate them. And my chest swells because now I don't need to go and preach. They are coming to preach me. Wonderful. So if you persevere and if you stick with it, you can change cultures. That was one of the biggest things. The other thing that I mentioned during my talk, when our family planning women would go to their homes, when they were still 50 yards away, especially the men would say, oh, here comes trouble. But now they're saying, yes, let's have the trouble. They are good for us. More and more villages are asking us to adopt them. I can't, because that's my principle too. I stopped at 60 villages because, for example, Rotary or other foundations, they give you money for 1 year. What will I do after the first year? I can't tell them, okay, goodbye. I worked here only for a year. So there are lots of stories like that.
Thank you, Abul.
Thank you.
So, Abul, you named the new school
World-class English school.
World-class English School.
And we have to make it a world-class English school, folks.
And it's fitting for marketing purposes, but it's also fitting about the Rotarian that I have standing to my right. Abul is absolutely world-class. And
Thank you. Thank you, Terry.
And each year, he inspires me, just like this banner here. I mean, he is the epitome of being the inspiration. And you continue to redefine yourself each year. What started as a clinic is now a second educational center. What will you present to us next year?
I don't know. It won't be anything totally new. It will be an update on the school, hopefully.
And hopefully for Joshua and for Max, Abul should be well into his retirement years. He had mentioned spending some time in Hawaii. And yet, his first meeting with Mother Teresa changed his life in a considerable way that he's dedicating the rest of it to service. So lots to look forward to, but thank you for being the inspiration.
Thank you.